Well, I mean, can there ever be too much baseball? Yeah, I
No
think the
chance.
answer, yeah, no chance. I mean, you would be the guy to ask. So,
Yeah, right.
welcome to the Keep Baseball Great podcast, where we're all about reminding baseball fans why they love the game. In this episode, we're going to talk to the GM and president of the Frisco RoughRiders. He also owns Big Fly Gear baseball brand with his family. We're going to talk with Victor Rojas. And if you don't know Victor's story, he has been in broadcasting with the Rangers, with the Angels. He also grew up in the game. His dad was a five-time All-Star with several teams, also coached. He also played college and minor league baseball. What else? Baseball is just weaved throughout his story, and I'm super excited to just dive in and hear some of these great moments of his past and growing up, but also to get a quick look into what is ahead, not only with the Frisco RoughRiders, but with Big Fly Gear. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Victor, thanks so much for joining me on the Keep Baseball Great podcast. I know you've got a ton going on, so I can't thank you enough for just spending a few moments with me. So thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. It's getting settled in here in the office in Frisco with a new gig. It's kind of weird to be in an office, but at least I'm in a ballpark, and it's my pleasure to join you.
Of course. So, yeah, like you said, you've got baseball just kind of weaved all throughout your life. So you grew up with baseball with your dad being I think 5 or 6 time All-Star. You played baseball at college and minors. You've been able to coach, and now president and GM. I mean, I don't think I've talked to anyone with this much baseball kind of weaved throughout their life as much as yours. So I'm just super excited to kind of ask these questions and figure out what makes you love baseball.
Sounds good. I'm pretty much the epitome of jack of all trades, master of none.
Well, I mean, can there ever be too much baseball? Yeah, I
No
think the
chance.
answer, yeah, no chance. I mean, you would be the guy to ask. So,
Yeah, right.
well, awesome. So we ask our guests these five same questions, and we're just all about asking them and finding out what makes baseball great for them. So, with that, the first one is the history of baseball and just the amount of history that weaves in and out of baseball and what it's done for the country and just a whole lot of different things. It just makes it so good. You've been able to be a part of a lot of that in your life, and so I'm curious to find out what your favorite historical baseball moment might be.
Man, it's a great question, and I know you sent them ahead of time. And with everything going on in the office here, I really didn't prep, so you're going to get honest, earnest
Hey,
answers from me
that's what we
right,
shoot for.
right off the cuff. There are so many terrific moments, I think, in the history of game, uh, and I got to pinpoint just one.
Well, so it is a loaded question,
Yeah,
obviously. So I know you've been able to been a part of several historical moments,
yeah.
calling Pujols's 500 home run, things like that. But then also, there's some historical moments that I have nothing to do with that I just find super fascinating.
Right,
Rick Monday running out on the baseball field,
right.
grabbing the flag
Yeah.
of the guys trying to burn it. Like, it's a really cool moment for me. So you don't have to pick one, but one that maybe just pops in your head.
Yeah. I think stands to me in passing recently, the night that he broke Babe Ruth's record, I think still stands out to me. I was a little kid. As you get older, you get to watch more of that video, understand the dynamics behind it and everything that went into that moment, especially for him, and considering all the letters and the hate that he received. Um, as Ben said, here's a black man in the deep South breaking this cherished record of the great Babe Ruth. And
Mm.
um, I think that really, uh, I think that's probably one of the, for me anyways, because I loved Hank Aaron as a player and as a person. I think that probably stands out as one of the biggest moments. But you can't dismiss what you know we did with Willie. There's so many great moments in baseball to really be able to pinpoint one. But if I had to, I would say Hank Aaron breaking.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's been cool. Unfortunately, with his passing, just all the stories that obviously come out of that, and that
Mhm.
you're able to hear that a lot of kids, like my kids, probably don't really understand. They know who Hank Aaron is and know he hit a home run record, but the things he had to go through, and just everything with that comes along with that. It's just been really cool for me to watch some of those specials that have come on and whatnot. So
Yeah, and the amazing thing too is that even after he never, at least you don't never know anybody from a private perspective unless you are intimately friends with them. But outwardly, he never let any of that bigotry and that hate infiltrate him when he interacted with fans or in the game of baseball. He became one of baseball's biggest ambassadors. And uh, I tell people all the time, if you get a chance, just read up on the biographies of Hank Aaron and what he went through growing up. Scrawny little kid when he jumped on the train and head and he was going to pursue this dream of playing professional baseball, and what he had to go through. It's just amazing that what he ultimately accomplished and then what he became after the fact. I mean, you could say he's a great ball player, but certainly just a great human being, just a
yeah,
gentle soul.
yeah, I can't wait for the movie to come out.
Yeah,
I think there should be one.
no
So
doubt.
well, cool. So the next question, again, it's probably a loaded question for you, with so much of your family being a part of baseball. But I know being able to watch my son play is just a big aspect of what makes baseball great for me. But uh, give me some your most favorite moments with family and friends that just kind of happened through baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I've experienced quite a few of them with my dad, as you mentioned, having played and the like. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of several special moments that are key and important to me. I would think, as I think about my dad, my family, uh, the 2000 playoffs. My dad was the third base coach for the New York Mets, and throughout his long history of playing, coaching, managing, and then coaching again, he'd been in the front office. He had never gone to a World Series ever.
Mm.
A lot of playoff teams, a lot of heartbreak with in the 1970s with the Royals and those Yankee matchups. Chris Chambliss walk-off home run, and just a lot of heartbreak. 82 for the Angels, 86 for the Angels, any number of them. But in 2000, the Mets won the National League pennant, and it was at Shea Stadium, and we were there. It was me and my two older brothers and my mom. My younger brother wasn't there. And at Shea Stadium, when you go through the dugout and there's a walkway underneath the stands, they're all mobile stands. Stadium, but you walk from the dugout and then you hit this little concourse area and you have to make a left and then a right to go into the Mets clubhouse. And as we were making our way down as a family from in the elevator to go to the family room, which was on the other side of the Mets clubhouse, so we would have to pass in front of there. We come out the elevator, we make a right on the concourse, and it was like just the perfect moment of, here he is the first time getting a chance to experience what it's like going to the World Series. And at the moment he steps off the field, if you will, before he goes into the clubhouse, we're right there.
Mm.
It was just by happenstance, and it's still one of the coolest moments for me that I've experienced from a baseball perspective, and especially from a familial standpoint, that I'll always cherish. I get choked up thinking about it, just because Hollywood movies get you all choked up because they make it so dreamy and it's like far fetched and the like. But that's exactly how it happened for us, and that's why it means so much.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I don't want to say I can relate, but in terms of just the emotion, especially when I watch my son play and he gets a hit to win the game or gets a hit and scores an RBI, you see the joy in his face. And then for me, it's like, man, Dusty, and you just love that moment,
Yeah,
and it's those that you cherish a lot. So
no doubt, no doubt.
that's a cool story. That's a cool story. So the third question, I know again, as my son plays, trying to teach life lessons through baseball has become a big thing for me, just to try to grow him as a person and also a player. But give me some great life lessons that you've been able to learn through baseball, whether it's coaching, playing, through your dad, or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of these stories have to, they all kind of circle back to my dad. And I think the biggest life lesson I've learned, or at least been a part of growing up with my dad, is it really doesn't matter, your size, um, your skill set to a certain extent, your circumstance. Um, there's opportunities presented to you, along the way, and I think what you do with that and what you make of it is totally reliant upon what you put forth. And I say that just because, my dad is 5'10". On his best days, 5'10". Kind of a guy who played middle infield, but kind of a jack of all trades. He played everywhere. He played wherever he had to. Came from Cuba, didn't speak the language. Ends
Hmm.
up in New Jersey after Castro takes over the island, and has to kind of just go for it and wing it. And you know, when you look back at his career, I think the fact that he was willing to do whatever it took to win, to put himself in the best interest of the team and not himself, a completely selfless individual. I think that's what allowed him to stick around for 16 years and make 5 All-Star teams. When it wasn't necessarily when his peers were picking the All-Star teams, not the fan voting, the popular vote. Although he was pretty popular in Kansas City mostly because of his name, but he was that veteran leadership and presence, and basically an expansion team that started and led them to the playoffs eventually in the 70s. So there's always that connection. But I think just what he was able to do growing up as a kid wanting to play baseball, and realizing that dream here in the United States.
Yeah. Wow. That's cool. Yeah. You don't you don't get a lot of backstory just as a baseball fan with a lot of these major league players. So it's really
Mm-hmm.
cool to hear, you know, like Hank Aaron, what they had to go through to achieve their goals, and you know, those life lessons. I think being able to pass them on is just makes baseball really, really, really great. So
Yeah. Well, we're in that society today of that instant gratification, right? So we don't. If
right.
it means you've got to dig and actually look into something, that means it's more time, and it's unfortunate because there are unbelievable stories and life lessons pretty much in everything that is out there even just from doing research on the internet. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily having to read a book or 400-page biography or anything like that, which I still think are valuable, but it's just kind of unfortunately the world we live in today. And so you almost have to bubble it up to the surface almost immediately, as opposed to leading. I'm a storyteller, right? I was broadcaster for 20 years, and my
Yep.
goal was always to kind of lead you along and build it up to the crescendo. But nowadays you can't really do that with the youth. You kind of just have to tell them, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
He was discriminated against. Oh, and by the way, he was the home Babe Ruth record. You have to almost do it in reverse.
Right, right. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I love doing the podcast, because I get to hear those stories and kind of bring them to light. So it's awesome. So the next question is just all about giving back. Just as I've kind of tried to figure out why I love baseball. One of the biggest things is just the way it gives back, whether it's
Mhm.
you know, little league coaches coaching, or if it's MLB players doing something for charities, or if it's just the game itself. The game right after 9/11 uh, gave back to the country in ways that you just couldn't understand. So I just love that. And so I know with you, with Big Fly Gear, you've been able to do some partnerships and giving back. I know with the Rough Riders, I've already seen stuff of them being able to give back. So just give me some great moments or experiences that you've been able to give back through baseball.
Well, I think you mentioned, and you're wearing the shirt, which I appreciate, but I think through our apparel company, when we
Mm,
kind of came up with the idea a couple of years ago to start a new business and kind of just be a family-run business out of our house. The apparel business seemed interesting to us, but we didn't want to be or do what other companies were already doing, and so we wanted to be different. And I also, being that storyteller that I am, I wanted to share the game's history, and I think that
mm,
was important for me. And so we came up with this concept of a person, place, or moment in baseball history revolving around the home run and being able to create something graphically that's cool, that's unique, that stands out, that maybe has you ask questions as to what does it stand for, what does it mean, so that whoever's wearing it becomes the storyteller. We're sharing that story of the history of the game, where there was a moment that knocked your team out of the playoffs or the World Series or whatever the case may be, but at least you're sharing the game's history. So I thought that was important to us. And my wife's father served in the military. My two older brothers served in the military. My oldest, I think he spent almost 14 years in the Army. So the military is big for me. I mean, I believe in it and what they stand for and what they do. And I feel so badly for our veterans, especially trying to get back into the flow of
mm,
normal life. And so, as part of our teaching our kids the entrepreneurial spirit as well as creating the business, we wanted to make sure that we gave back somehow. And so we've partnered, not necessarily partnered, we just have made donations to
sure.
military organizations, kind of spread it out, not for profits. And then we came up with this idea that on every July 4th, ideally, once we got to a point where we were big, being able to host 10 families or more in every ballpark hosting a game on July 4th. Um, that was the grand goal. We ended up doing it in our very first year in 2019. It just so happened that the Angels, the team I worked for, was playing in Texas. That's where we're based. That's where I live. And forth and up with the Rangers and Albert Pujols and CJ Nikowski and those guys came down during BP. I brought these families onto the field with my family. They got a chance to experience batting practice, take pictures. And it just, it may not seem like a lot, and I'm sure, for them it was a cool day out at the ballpark, but it certainly helps us connect to
Mm,
what we're doing and making sure that we don't forget, the people that, kind of have allowed for us to live in this world that we,
right.
chance to cherish every single day.
Yeah, I mean that's important. Even just the notion of letting them know that people do care,
Yeah.
and I think that's just a big part. So thank you for doing that. I know it's an inspiration for me and for Keep Baseball Great. Uh, goals of being able to give back in different ways, and so that's an inspiration for me. So thank you. Um,
Yeah.
so the last question is, of course, baseball is just it's a game, right? So it's got to be about fun. Some of my favorite players, Beltre and Elvis, how they've kind of interacted. You could just tell they were just having fun, and that's something that I know is lost. Having a 14-year-old in baseball, it's lost a little bit now with kids, and so I'm just a big proponent of trying to like, hey, just have fun and throwing some fun things into it. But uh, give me kind of, some of your most fun moments that you've been able to have through baseball, whether it's,
Personally,
yeah, I mean, yeah, personally, or that you've been able just to be a part of or experience.
um, well, I mean, like you said earlier, I had a chance to call a number of great moments in baseball history as far as, milestones, whether it's Sammy Sosa's 600th or Albert's 500th and 600th, 3,000th hit, 2,000th RBI, no hitters and the like. I think those are all cool. Those are great moments for me to kind of experience. I'm trying to think off the cuff if there's any one particular, fun moment. I guess fun moment for me growing up was kind of being a bat boy
Mm,
on dad's teams. And especially when he went to coach in Chicago with the Cubs right after he retired in '77. Being at Wrigley Field and standing at shortstop with a fungo trying to hit a ball out onto Waveland Avenue, as a little seventh, and actually back then I was a sixth grader, I was real young.
Wow.
Those are the things that's unique for us because, having grown up in the game, we were privy to certain things that not the average person gets a chance to experience. We were in Boston a couple of years ago playing the Red Sox and had a Saturday night off, and it was a Fox game, and my family was in Boston with me, and we ended up buying 4 monster seats, and we went up and sat up in the monster seats, and
Nice.
that was really cool, man. And we were out
Yeah.
in left center field, and what a cool perspective. The fans are great. It's just, even had some folks kind of recognize me, both Angels and Red Sox fans, and got to shoot the very, very chill. But it's just like little things like that. I think, unfortunately, the business of that we're in, that I'm in, that you're a fan of, the business side of it clouds the judgment of the nostalgia, the Americana
Mhm.
that really binds us all, or has bound us through the years. And that's the unfortunate side of things. And I'm hoping now that in my role here back in the minor leagues, look, I loved what I did. I did it for 18 years in the big leagues, 20 overall broadcasting wise. But I kind of wanted to get back to, one, being at home on an everyday basis and not traveling, and two, being able to get to the grassroots level and kind of bring that back, that feel, that love of the game, like kind of what I felt growing up, that I think gets lost in today's world just because of, obviously, the numbers and the business side of it, because it has grown so much, whether it's from a television network perspective or an owner, player salaries, whatever the case may be. That stuff should be secondary to the love of the game itself.
Mm. Well, I've been able to attend a few Rough Rider games in the past, and I love going out there. So
Great ballpark.
yeah, great ballpark, great atmosphere, one of the best minor league logos in my mind. I love the Rough Rider logo. So I'm excited to see what you do there, and I know it's going to be great, and hopefully we can get past this COVID issue so we can just go out and experience it with no hesitations. So, well, that's awesome, Victor. Man, thank you so much. I love hearing the stories. I love hearing what makes baseball great for you. And so, before we go, give us. Just some places that people can find you or find Big Fly Gear, especially because they've got some great shirts for sure. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, Big Fly Gear. You can find us at bigflygear.com, and same for all the social media handles. It's all at Big Fly Gear. Me personally, on Twitter, I'm at Victor Rojas, and then Instagram, Victor Rojas 29. So feel free to follow along. I'm fairly active, fairly accessible, and I usually respond. So that may not be a good thing sometimes, but I do.
Well, awesome. Thanks again, just for spending some time with me, and hopefully we'll see you out on the ball field.
You got it, Drew. I can't wait to see you out here, man.
All right. Well, big thanks to Victor again for taking the time with me to find out what makes baseball great for him. In the meantime, be sure to check out bigflygear.com. They've got a lot of cool baseball apparel to check out, so be sure to do that. And follow them on all the social media platforms. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. In the meantime, keep baseball great.